So, more than half a year has passed since Girls Frontline 2 Exilium was released, and I've been having a blast with it ever since. And not just because of the insane fan service, but the gameplay loop has been constantly going through changes, some of which I think are pretty major. And in this video, I'll talk about all the new exciting stuff that's been added to the game. Quick disclaimer though, this video is sponsored by the developers, which I'm thankful for, and I am using an early access server to show you this latest version footage, so content shown here is subject to change. Now, I won't be covering the gameplay basics, I've already done that in my previous video, and instead, I'd like to focus on all the biggest changes that came with this newer version. And starting with the most exciting one, in my opinion, buffing old units. That's right, we rarely see this happen in gacha games, which is kinda bad when you think about it, since power creep is usually inevitable, and people feel pressured to get the latest and greatest, while the oldies sit there abandoned. Well, the situation in Girls Frontline 2 is actually quite different. These two units didn't actually suck, and they're not even that old, but Tololo and Sharkry both received new expansion keys. If you haven't played the game yet, think of them as passive talents that you can set on the units. So, Tololo gained a new expansion key called Captured Starlight, which helps her obtain Confectance Index faster, which she uses to gain extra actions, and then when anyone deals hydro damage in team, her Black Hole Inversion skill's cooldown is reduced by 1 turn. So basically, Tololo becomes superb in mono hydro teams, since she's also hydro damage dealer. On the other hand, we have Sharkry, who can now deal burn damage with her emergency support attack, which means she's now even better for burn teams. Now, these buffs didn't happen randomly because this update introduces 2 new units, Springfield and Peri, who also have their own story in the currently active event, which I'll talk about in a moment. Oh, and yeah, Mech-T's banner is also being rerun. Anyways, so Springfield basically is one of the most busted supports in the game, and for a good reason too. She can heal allies, and when they get overhealed, they receive a damage buff. Plus, her little birdie Taris can also counterattack enemies. Her animations are also really beautiful, but what's even better is her custom skin, Queen in Radiance, which of course has some quality animations inside the dormitory, which I'm sure you've seen in many videos by now, and it's by far one of the best selling points of the game for gamers. But yeah, the coolest thing about this Springfield skin is that it also can be interacted within the menu. This is the first skin in the game that does it, and I personally hope the developers will add more of these 3D interactive skins. But moving over to Peri, she's all about exchanging her HP into a fat shield, which also gives her various buffs, one of which improves her damage in a big way. Most importantly, she can tank the enemies, so for certain endgame modes, this will be quite valuable. Overall, as you can see, Springfield is hydro damage dealer, and Tololo received the buff, while Peri is a burn damage dealer, and Sharkry received the buff as well. So in other words, hydro and burn teams are eating good this update. Oh, and let's not forget you can even pull for Springfield's signature Radiance, which boosts everyone's hydro damage, along with other benefits, while Peri's Amanita helps Peri unload even more powerful basic attacks. But yeah, those are the 2 new limited units. Let's now continue with the big changes. And I guess this is where we can talk about artifact recovery, which is part of the new main event, but in reality, the devs have confirmed this will be a permanent, new endgame mode. And boy oh boy was I waiting for this, because this is a roguelike mode that actually provides you units for free, which you draft over time, but not only that, there's 2 different currencies you need to manage that can be used to buy upgrades for the run, and more importantly, you can even buy the fortification upgrades, which are the dupes of the unit. Although keep in mind, these upgrades only last to the single run. Still, I found this game mode to be quite fun. Yeah, a lot of gachas lately have been introducing roguelike modes, but I think this one in particular feels quite fresh, although I do hope the exploration part becomes a bit more sophisticated, or at least gives more choices on branching paths. But other than that, yeah, this is a really nice way to experience the game and test your knowledge of units and powers while going for that high score. I guess it's also worth mentioning now as well, the boss fight crossroad challenge has been updated with a new boss called Terrorhorn Chimera, and this thing has pretty tough defenses that you will need to remove in order to beat it effectively, so a pretty cool boss fight overall. Now, moving outside of combat, one thing I really dislike about games is when they have events with important lore that just disappears forever after it's over. I'm looking at you, Genshin. Luckily, Girls Frontline 2 is rolling out this new system where you can actually access past events, starting with Sojourners Part 1 and Part 2 stories, which can be accessed from the campaign. So a very good feature if you didn't start playing the game back when it first released. Speaking of starting your playthrough, if you're not happy with your main character's gender, guess what? The devs will be sending out a free resource that allows you to switch the gender. So yeah, if you're one of those who want your MC to change, now's the best time to do it. Oh, and yeah, most important of all, I wouldn't say this game has the biggest roster in the game right now, but besides the standard pool, quite a few crucial units are limited, and luckily, this update introduces selectable banner, both for units and their weapons. Currently, this banner has 4 dolls, Suami, Ulrid, Macchiato, and Dayan, along with their corresponding signature weapons. And I think that's great because, as you can see, the banner states the first guaranteed access is going to be the selected item. So do 80 pulls at most, and you get the selected unit. Perfect to finalize some of your teams. I hope at least. Anyway, let's talk about the last big change with this version. All previously released skins are returning for a limited time, and you can use these free vouchers to purchase the skins for a discount. Now, obviously, these skins require premium currency to be purchased, which will be cheaper with the vouchers. However, I do believe it's healthy for the game to bring back all the previous skins because I really dislike FOMO in games, and especially if I, let's say, pulled a unit I really like, but their skin is no longer available. I mean, that's a bit of a bummer. So it's kinda cool for the devs to bring back all the skins, as I've been showcasing now each of them while babbling. By the way, this is a bit off topic, but in a future version update, the developers mentioned in their livestream they are planning to release a collection system, which will track outfits, weapon skins, avatars, and so on, and then give a small honorary reward like exclusive titles. So I guess those who especially love collecting all cosmetics will have a nice way to showcase their dedication. But yeah, those are all the big changes. However, we still haven't talked about the main event, Mimi's Brunner's Loop, which, like previous major events, is made up of 2 parts. However, this event is accelerated, and part 1 and 2 will happen at shown dates, which is nice. Now, I don't really follow the game's story, but from what I can tell, Springfield and Peri will be the major characters of this event's story. However, what I do know are the event activities, and my favorite one so far is the Zucchero Café event. I probably butchered the name. Anyway, you make various pretentious coffee drinks in a cat cafe. I love cats, and I love pretentious coffee. What else could you ask for? Oh, and it seems you can even win various prizes like iPhone 16, Razer Keyboard, or collapse pieces by just doing this cute event. Then, as we saw before, artifact recovery is right now part of this main event, but moving over to second part events, Assault Simulation is making a comeback with some spicy girl outfits you can admire from a different angle while quickly shooting down targets, and then Path Forger. I actually talked about it in the previous video as well. This is a roll and move Monopoly type of game, but now it came back with a few changes, including more opponents playing against you, which makes the minigame livelier. And then of course we have the challenge modes part 1 and part 2, as well as story modes part 1 and part 2, which I'll leave it for you to discover. Still, let's talk about the rewards. You can get up to 40 free summons by completing Daybreak Vigil login event, Rookie Broker's Invoice login event, and by just accessing your in-game mail to get 10 more targeted and regular access permissions. But the best part, there's another event called Radiant Spirits, where it has a bunch of tasks you need to do, but one of the main rewards is Faye, an elite doll that you can get for free. More copies of her can be obtained from the standard banner, and her pistol Hestia is also available to pull from there, but overall, she's a pretty interesting physical damage dealer, who also uses her axe along with the pistol to deliver cool attacks, which can also apply some serious debuffs, like making the enemy take more physical damage or force them to receive fixed damage periodically. Oh, and of course, let's not forget, Faye has her own custom skin that you can explore in the dormitory. Sheesh, I gotta say, this game always hits the hardest when it comes to the dormitory. But yeah, overall, the game has been evolving quite steadily. A bunch of new features, new changes, and things are constantly being added, and I really enjoy that. Anyway, I would really appreciate it if you could support my channel and use my link in the description to download Girls Frontline 2 Exilium. I mean, come on, there's tons of rewards waiting for you, including a free elite doll. So make sure to do this, and I'll see you in the next video.